When 27-year-old Hannah Brooks watched her father, stepmother, and stepbrother board an express train without her, she felt as though the ground had disappeared beneath her feet because only minutes earlier, they had promised this family trip would be the beginning of a fresh chapter after years of distance and misunderstandings. The crowded station buzzed with travelers, announcements echoed through the hall, and suitcases rolled across the polished floor. But Hannah stood frozen in the middle of it all, unable to understand why the people she trusted most had walked away without even looking back. Since her mother's passing 15 years earlier, Hannah had always felt like an outsider in her own home after her father married Diane, whose attention was devoted almost entirely to her son, Ethan, while Hannah quietly accepted being overlooked because she never wanted to believe her family could truly stop caring about her. During the drive to the station, they had laughed together, shared old memories, and spoken excitedly about the vacation ahead, making Hannah believe that perhaps the painful distance between them had finally begun to disappear. Everything changed when Diane suddenly claimed an important travel folder had been left inside a storage locker near the parking garage and asked Hannah to retrieve it while the others waited beside the departure platform, insisting they would miss the train if everyone went together. Hannah searched every locker in the area without finding anything, and when she hurried back less than 20 minutes later, the platform was empty. The train had departed, and her family had vanished without leaving behind anything except silence. Her phone buzzed with 2 heartbreaking messages that made the truth impossible to ignore. The first from her father saying, "Don't try to follow us," and the second from Diane reading, "You were never part of this journey." Before every call she attempted was rejected because they had blocked her number. While she struggled to understand why they would betray her so cruelly, another email arrived from an unknown sender containing legal documents that showed ownership of a historic lakeside estate once belonging to her late mother had been transferred to Ethan using a signature Hannah had never written. As fear and confusion overwhelmed her, an elderly gentleman wearing a dark overcoat calmly approached and addressed her by name, explaining that he had been searching for her because her mother had prepared something important years ago in case this exact day ever arrived. Before Hannah could question how a complete stranger knew such personal details, he quietly placed an old silver key and a faded photograph into her hand, whispered, "Your mother's greatest secret is still alive," and disappeared into the moving crowd, leaving Hannah with more questions than answers and a mystery that was only beginning. Determined to uncover the truth, Hannah examined the photograph more carefully and noticed a handwritten address hidden along its edge, leading her to an old lighthouse on the outskirts of the coastal town where her mother had spent much of her youth. Using the silver key, she unlocked a small wooden cabinet concealed beneath a staircase and discovered a weathered journal, several sealed envelopes, and a flash drive with her mother's handwriting that simply read, "For Hannah alone." Inside the journal, her mother explained that years before her death she had helped establish a private research company with 2 trusted partners. But when the business became incredibly successful, one partner secretly tried to seize complete control through forged contracts and illegal financial deals. Fearing that powerful people would destroy the evidence, she divided important records into different hiding places and arranged for Hannah to receive the first clue only if anything suspicious ever happened to the family's inheritance. The flash drive contained financial records, confidential emails, and a recorded video in which Hannah's mother calmly revealed that she had been receiving threats after refusing to approve fraudulent transactions worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Adding that she no longer believed the danger came from strangers alone. Fighting back tears, Hannah listened as her mother said, "If someone close to me betrays our family, remember that the truth will always leave a trail for those willing to follow it." As Hannah absorbed the shocking revelations, the same elderly gentleman arrived once again and introduced himself as Daniel Mercer, a longtime friend of her mother's who had quietly protected the hidden evidence for many years while waiting for the right moment to reveal everything. He admitted that Hannah's father and stepfamily had recently learned about the secret files and believed the missing records could give them control of a business empire now worth billions, which explained why they had desperately tried to remove Hannah before their plan was exposed. Before Daniel could explain where the remaining evidence was hidden, a loud crash echoed outside the lighthouse as someone forced open the main entrance, making both of them realize they had been followed. Daniel quickly gathered the documents, handed Hannah a second envelope marked "Open only when you are safe," and whispered, "From this moment on, Trust no one until you know who truly stands beside you. As heavy footsteps moved closer through the dark hallway, Daniel led Hannah through a hidden passage beneath the lighthouse that opened into an abandoned boathouse, where he finally revealed the contents of the sealed envelope containing certified company records proving that Hannah's mother had remained the legal majority owner of the research company until her death. The documents also showed that ownership had automatically passed to Hannah, meaning every forged transfer her father and step-family had arranged would collapse the moment the evidence reached the authorities. With the help of an experienced investigative attorney and a team of financial crime specialists, Hannah submitted the journals, digital files, and legal records to investigators, who quickly uncovered years of forged signatures, hidden bank accounts, and fraudulent business transactions. As the investigation expanded, several people involved in the scheme turned against one another to avoid prosecution, and the carefully built web of lies began falling apart faster than anyone expected. When Hannah finally faced her father, he admitted that greed had slowly consumed him after seeing the company's value grow beyond imagination, although he insisted he had never expected the situation to spiral so far out of control. Hannah listened quietly before telling him that every dishonest decision had been a choice, and that no amount of money could repair the trust he had destroyed by betraying his own daughter. Months later, the court restored Hannah's rightful ownership of the company and the remaining family assets. While the stolen funds were recovered and several charitable projects her mother had dreamed of creating were finally brought to life in her memory. Rather than seeking revenge, Hannah focused on honoring her mother's values by expanding scholarships, supporting young entrepreneurs, and proving that integrity could build a legacy far stronger than wealth alone. Standing on the balcony of the company's new headquarters, Hannah looked toward the sunrise and realized that the people who had tried to erase her future had instead given her the courage to discover the truth, reclaim her family's legacy, and begin a life defined by honesty instead of betrayal. Please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. We create entertaining and inspiring stories for our viewers, and your support helps us continue making great content for you.